Today we're diving into something that completely changes how we understand Haki in one piece. Most fans think all three types of Haki, observation, armament, and conquerors, need to be trained and mastered. But here's the truth. Only armament Haki truly needs to be learned from scratch. Observation Haki and conquerors Haki are natural. They awaken on their own, often in moments of desperation or emotional intensity. But armament? You can't just unlock it through willpower or instinct. You have to be taught. You have to train. You have to build it. Let's break down why armament Haki is fundamentally different from the other two, and what that tells us about the nature of strength in one piece. Let's start with the most obvious one, Conqueror's Haki. Conqueror's Haki isn't something you learn. You either have it or you don't. It's determined at birth. It's in your DNA, your spirit, your very nature. Rayleigh said it himself, it cannot be attained through training. One can only determine whether or not they have it through attempting to use it. Quotation mark. You can't train to get Conqueror's Haki. You can only train to control it. Conqueror's Haki awakens naturally. Look at every single person who has Conqueror's Haki. They all awakened it naturally, often without even realizing what it was. Luffy first used it at Marineford to save Ace. He didn't know what he was doing. It just erupted out of him when his emotions peaked. Ace awakened it as a child when protecting Luffy from Bluejum's crew. He had no idea what happened. It just burst out. Doflamingo used it as a child during his traumatic life in the slums. No training. No teaching. Just raw, instinctive power. Zoro awakened Conqueror's Haki during his fight with King on Onigashima. He didn't even realize he had it until Kaido pointed it out. Yamato had it since childhood, awakening naturally due to her royal bloodline and indomitable spirit. None of these people sat down and learned Conqueror's Haki. It awakened because it was already inside them. They just needed the right moment, the right emotion, the right push to bring it out. Once you awaken Conqueror's Haki, you can train to control it better. You can learn to coat your attacks with it, like Luffy learned from fighting Kaido. But that's refinement, not creation. You're not learning Conqueror's Haki, you're learning how to use what you already have. If you don't have the spirit of a king, no amount of training will give it to you. Now let's talk about observation Haki. Observation Haki is the ability to sense the presence, emotions, and intentions of others. At advanced levels, it lets you see the future. And just like Conqueror's Haki, it awakens naturally. Observation Haki appears in life or death situations. Observation Haki doesn't require a teacher. It awakens when you need it most, when your life is on the line, when you're desperate, when your instincts take over. Kabi awakened observation Haki at Marineford when he heard the voices of dying soldiers. He was overwhelmed by the sheer intensity of death around him, and his Haki burst to life. No one taught him. It just happened. Usopp first used observation Haki in Dressrosa when he sensed Sugar's location from across the country. He didn't train for it. He didn't even know what it was. He just felt it. Luffy developed basic observation Haki during the time skip, but unlocked future sight during his fight with Katakuri. It wasn't a lesson, it was survival. Katakuri's attacks forced Luffy's observation to evolve in real time. Sanji, his observation Haki is naturally strong, tied to his empathy and instincts. He's always been able to sense danger and emotions without formal training. Observation Haki can be refined, but it starts naturally. Yes, characters like Rayleigh can teach you how to hone your observation Haki. They can help you control it, extend its range, and sharpen its precision. But the awakening itself? That's instinct. You don't sit down and study how to sense someone's presence. Your body just does it when you need to survive. Your mind adapts when the stakes are high enough. Observation Haki is a survival mechanism. It's your soul's way of protecting you. And it activates on its own. Now we get to armament Haki. And this is where everything changes. Armament Haki is different. It doesn't awaken naturally. It doesn't burst out in moments of desperation. You can't unlock it through sheer willpower or emotion. You have to be taught how to use it. Look at every single character who uses armament haki. Every single one of them was trained by someone else. Luffy learned armament haki from Rayleigh during the 2-year time skip. Rayleigh explicitly taught him how to channel his willpower into his body to create the black coating. Zoro likely learned it during his training with Mihawk. Mihawk is a master swordsman who uses armament, and he would have taught Zoro the fundamentals. Sanji trained with Ivankov and the Akama during the time skip. His armament haki, especially in his legs, was developed through rigorous combat training. The Kyuja warriors, the Amazons of Amazon Lily, are taught armament haki as part of their warrior culture. It's passed down through training, not instinct. The Marines, vice admirals and above are expected to have armament haki. They're trained in it as part of their military discipline. Hyogoro taught Luffy advanced armament haki Ryo in Wano. Luffy couldn't figure it out on his own. He needed a master to show him the technique. You can't accidentally use armament haki. You can't suddenly coat your fist in black because you're angry or scared. It's a technique. A skill. Something you have to learn step by step. Rayleigh explained it clearly. Armament haki is about channeling your willpower into your body, creating an invisible or visible armor. That's a conscious process. You have to know how to do it. Even Luffy, who has natural talent for everything, couldn't figure out armament haki on his own. He needed Rayleigh to teach him for 2 years. And even after that, he needed Hyogoro to teach him the advanced version. Because armament haki is external. It's a physical manifestation of your will. Conqueror's haki is internal. It's your spirit overwhelming others. Observation haki is sensory. It's your instincts heightened to supernatural levels. But armament haki? It's your willpower turned into armor, into a weapon, into something tangible. That requires control. That requires understanding. That requires training. You can't just will your fist to turn black. You have to know the process. You have to practice it. You have to master it. Here's the strongest proof. In the entire series, not a single character has ever awakened armament haki naturally. Conqueror's haki? Luffy, Ace, Doflamingo, Zoro, Yamato, all awakened it on their own. Observation haki? Kabi, Usopp, Luffy, Isa the little girl from Skypiea, all awakened it instinctively. Armament haki? 0 natural awakenings. Every single person who uses armament haki was trained by someone else. Every single one. That's not a coincidence. That's a fundamental rule of how haki works in One Piece. So why does this matter? Because armament haki is the great equalizer. Conqueror's haki is rare. Only 1 in a million people have it. If you're not born with it, tough luck. Observation haki is more common, but it's still tied to instinct and natural talent. Some people are just better at sensing things than others. But armament haki? Anyone can learn it. As long as you have the discipline, the training, and the willpower, you can master it. That's why the Marines teach it. That's why Amazon Lily warriors all use it. That's why it's the foundation of combat in the New World. Armament haki is the one type of haki that's truly democratic. It doesn't care if you're born a king or a nobody. It doesn't care if you have natural instincts. It only cares if you're willing to work for it. Let's summarize the differences. Conqueror's haki requirement, born with it awakening, natural, triggered by emotion or desperation training, can refine control, but can't learn it if you don't have it. Rarity, 1 in a million. Observation haki requirement, natural instinct though almost everyone has it. Dormant awakening, instinctive, often triggered by danger or emotional intensity. Training, can be refined and sharpened, but awakens on its own. Rarity, uncommon, but more accessible than Conqueror's. Armament haki requirement, training and teaching. Awakening, must be learned. No natural awakening training, absolutely required from start to finish. Rarity, rare in weaker seas, common in the New World because it's taught. This distinction is perfect for One Piece's themes. Conqueror's haki represents destiny. You either have the spirit of a king or you don't. It's the ultimate expression of natural-born greatness. Observation haki represents instinct and awareness. It's about being in tune with the world around you, sensing danger, and adapting. But armament haki? Armament represents hard work, discipline, training, effort. It's the haki that says, you don't need to be special. You don't need to be born gifted. You just need to work harder than everyone else. And that's why it's the most important haki for most fighters in One Piece. Conqueror's haki is a gift. Observation haki is instinct. But armament haki? That's earned. You can't awaken it naturally. You can't unlock it through desperation. You can't stumble into it by accident. You have to train. You have to learn. You have to build it from the ground up. And maybe that's why it's the most respected form of haki in the New World. Because everyone who has it worked for it. Luffy didn't just gain armament haki, he trained for 2 years under the Dark King himself to master it. The Kyuja warriors don't just have armament haki, they've been drilling it into their bodies since childhood. The Marines don't just possess armament haki, they've earned it through decades of discipline and combat. Armament haki is proof of dedication. And in One Piece, that matters more than talent. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you agree that armament is the only haki that truly requires teaching. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, drop a like and subscribe for more One Piece analysis. See you in the next one.